What's going on? Welcome to Totally Blitz Podcast. We in this bitch talking UFC 289, Nunes versus Aldana, UFC Vancouver, as some of the people would call it. And as always, before we jump into it, go down, like and subscribe, and comment your picks on these fights and whatever bets you have this weekend. As well, we're also gonna talk about some of the Ultimate Fighter that's going on because that's what's hot in the streets right now in the MMA world. As always, this is Paul Pick 'em Win 'em, and I'm joined with.
You already know, man. It's the big dog, your boy Kev, Water Boy Boy, aka the Don PYA, also known as the realest motherfucker on your screen. You feel me? And I'm back in the motherfucking States. The Heat are in the motherfucking finals, and you bitches can go. We don't say kill yourself no more. That's politically incorrect. So you can go suck a dick if you got a problem with that.
And but so Kev's back in the States, but UFC's going across the border to the north with the Canada, Vancouver. Low key, like Kev, I was texting you earlier about it. Like this, at least in my lifespan of watching the UFC, this is the worst pay-per-view I've ever seen. Like the main event shouldn't even be the main event. The co-main event should be the main event. But it's women empowerment, whatever the fuck you want to call it. However the UFC wants to market it, this is kind of nutty, bro. Like I don't know. I was looking at this card and I'm just sitting here like you're charging $80 for this. This is an $80 and you wonder why people stream it illegally. I'm just saying, Dana.
All right, so look, this shit was so funny when I seen this shit. Motherfucking, it's niggas was talking about how Charles Oliveira, they keep putting out like a breaking news. Charles Oliveira out for UFC 289 for breaking his back for how hard he has to carry this shit this weekend. And it's like, and then I seen another picture, and it was like somebody dressed up in a suit. It was like UFC 289 co-main event, and then it was the same nigga in the same room dressed up in sweats for you talking about you the UFC 289 main event. I was you disrespectful.
But
and the worst part was Charles Oliveira looked at it and said, "LOL."
This is no disrespect to Mike Mallet or Adam Fugit, but the third fight before on the main card, the third fight before the co-main event is Mike Malott versus Adam Fugit. This would be a fucking co-main event. This would be in the same spot if this was at the Apex. If this fight happened last week, Mike Malott versus Adam Fugit would get the same spot on the Apex card. Like the fact this is a pay-per-view card and this is you going to expand your horizons in Canada, the neighbors up north. I do give y'all respect because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 Canadian fighters, and then you got 1 Frenchman. And if you don't know anything about Canada, like especially the Quebec area, it's big in French. And then you got a couple, like a New Zealand fighter as well. And so like they have a few people that will tap into that market, but I don't know, bro. Like as an average UFC fan, this is not a card. I think a lot of people have been saying online. Like I'm not just speaking for myself, but a lot of people online are saying like this might be one of the worst cards, by at least this year, the worst card this year for pay-per-view.
And it's funny because the co-main event was supposed to be earlier in the year.
And that is saving it. I'm not gonna lie. If Oliveira was not on this card against Dariush, I don't know how they. Even with that on the card, this is gonna do like 150,000 buys, 100,000. But they're not even gonna release how many buys they get on this card.
I would not be surprised they kept that low. I'm trying to be surprised they don't even say it.
Dan is not pulling up for the post presser.
I'm crying. If he's smart, he does it. But it's Pride Month, man. You guys Pride Month. You gotta have some. Amanda Nunes, first openly lesbian fighter, like
double champ.
Aldana, she could probably beat the shit out of niggas.
Like, and she's a fill-in fighter. That makes it even like this main event no one wants to watch. But yes, then also you get the fact that like, oh, it was supposed to be Pena before. Like, I don't know, bro. Like this is one of those cards. Like we're here though. We're here. We're gonna watch.
The worst part is I gotta the worst part is I like this fight better than the Pena fight.
Oh, me too. And the funniest part about the Pena fight to me is like Pena was on podcasts, like not talking shit, but she was kind of talking shit, talking about like Yeah, like people counted me out the first fight, and like watch, they're all counting me out this fight. Like yo, I beat her the way I knew how to beat her. I'm gonna do it again, all that jazz, and then all of a sudden we can't fight for the main event, and then someone has to fill in. I'm just like, damn, Pena, how the fuck are you gonna go on podcast saying you're gonna win this fight and then have to pull out because of injury or whatever?
No, that shit was funny, man. I mean, shout out Pena, man. We fuck with her.
And I would say the match, not matchmaking, but like so the featured prelim fight, the fight before pay-per-view goes on air. I understand you want to make it a good fight because everyone who doesn't have pay-per-view will be able to watch it, so you have more eyes on it. But I think this fight deserved to be on the main card. Chris Curtis versus Nasruddin Amavov. Like Chris Curtis, I don't think at this point, especially on this card, which is not stacked, Chris Curtis versus Imavov should not be on the prelims. Like I don't know, like you're just shooting yourself in the foot on what's already not a great card.
Nah, for real.
All right, you want to start there, Kev?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie to you, Paul. That was one hell of a rant. Like I wasn't ready for that. I was like, damn, this card trash. But like I was gonna keep it moving.
No, bro. Like, the first fight on the first fight in the main card, Marc-Andre Barriat versus Eric Anders. Come on now, I ain't pushing no fucking needles. And the MMA fans have an audacity to come at some boxing fans about their cards. Come on now. At least boxing cards, you'll have some top prospects in the prelims.
You gotta hope you like God damn.
All right. All right. Chris Curtis.
I'm clipping that and sending it to Dana. That was gold right there.
Chris Curtis is the underdog, plus 130 against Imavov. Imavov coming off a win at UFC France. He was on the main card for the Tai Tuivasa versus Gone card. Probably one of the better prospects France got. And Chris Curtis, slight underdog here, coming off the loss where we saw live against Kevin Gastelum. So how you feeling here, Kev? I think this is honestly going to be one of the better fights of the card. So like, perfect place to start.
Better fights and better bet. Like the fact that Chris Curtis is an underdog in this fight is crazy. Go ahead and I don't know too much about other dude. I'm about to find out, but I'm hammering motherfucking Chris Curtis after I'm seeing him go toe to toe with Kevin Gastelum. And like motherfucking, don't get me wrong, he was crying, but like I feel like he's coming ready to fuck some shit up. He's been him and Sean Strickland have a podcast now, so like I don't know how long that's been a thing, but like he's coming ready to fuck yeah, he's ready to come fuck some shit up, and that way you can go talk shit on this podcast with Sean Strickland. And like Chris Curtis is just a nice, upstanding up fighter. Like I don't think you want to bang with bro. I don't know too much about other homie, but like I don't want to bang with Chris Curtis after seeing in person him and Kevin got seeing and hearing these punches. Like they were throwing fucking strikes, and he's ready to like okay, that was some bullshit.
You know who Imavov trains with?
Who?
Think of the heavyweight Frenchman.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I'm just saying, you can hate on Gon all you want, but the fact that he be sparring with Gon, I don't think like he can crack and he has some BJJ, not BJJ, but like he can take it to the ground and submit you. He has a lot of submissions on his belt. I just think he's a more complete fighter than Chris Curtis. And if Kevin Gastelum was able to like tag him up after like years of hiatus, I love Chris Curtis. I love his podcast. I love Sean Strickland, but like, and I think this is good matchmaking. So I'm kind of shocked you're riding with Chris Curtis here. I'm riding with the Frenchman. I'm riding with the boys.
You French toast ass niggas. I can't do it, man. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. Nope, can't.
So, and honestly, I think that'd be our pick for Fire tonight. I don't want to speak for Kev. Actually, that won't be my pick for Fire tonight. I got the fight after this is my pick for Fire tonight.
Damn, I thought you had on. Aldana Nunes.
Fuck no.
No. I think I thought you had Malott versus Fergus.
See, the worst part is his last name is Fugit, and that's how quickly we forget about their names. But the next fight, Dan Ige 50K versus Nate Landier. Nate Lanier is on a fucking mission. 3 fights wins in a row. He got the win over Onama. Got the win over like a couple weeks ago. Got a win. He's kind of riding the hot hand, but he's a plus 210 underdog to Dan Ige minus 260. Ige and him, I think this is gonna be fire tonight because both of them they like to trade. They both come full fucking hearted in the fights. Like if you're gonna beat Dan Ige or you're gonna beat Nate Landier, you have to be willing to like kill the man in front of you because they're not gonna go down. So like that's what I like about this fight. That's why I think it's gonna be the fight of the night. You got two guys who really is like there's gonna be blood in the water, and it's just who's gonna stand more shots. So I'm riding with the big underdog, even though Dan Ige probably will win. I can't bro. Nate Landier is one of low key this past year has been slowly becoming one of my favorite fighters. Just his post, his fucking the way he talks on the mic, the way he brings into the octagon, and like you wouldn't expect like the UFC was riding him off, and he ain't right back.
He ain't right back. All right. Hey, I'm not gonna lie to you. I fuck with Nate. Usually I go against bro, but these last 3 fights he's been he looked good. And like I just catch his. I'm the one that just happens to always catch his fights and his interviews because bro's talking shit. He's the definition of like just grab your balls, grab. I walk around with my hand on my dick, American. Like he's a fucking animal. And he's been winning. Like he's over last time he was talking about one of these girls are gonna leave here with me tonight, and I was just like, this gold. This is fucking gold. And he is not playing around. This is how he actually moves. So it's like, okay, I fuck with bro.
And then the people's main event is up next. If you want to be real, this is the real main event of the card. What's really packing the seats, what's selling the pay-per-views. And the worst part is neither one of them is probably getting the pay-per-view percentage. Charles Oliveira as a slight underdog to Beneil Dariush, who's minus 150. Slight favorite here. And I don't want to sway no one's votes, no nothing. But Dariush came out. You know, we did the humanitizing athletes, and they asked him what his favorite TV show was. You know what his answer was, Kev?
One Piece.
One Piece. I'm not trying to sway no votes now. I'm just letting you know. I'm just speaking facts onto the pod, bro. I'm just speaking facts.
Niggas green, kid. You see how the niggas are doing you, man? So, like, this fight is so interesting for me because I want to skip all the way to the end. So, the winner of this fight is gonna get should fight is most likely gonna fight Islam in Abu Dhabi.
Facts.
So we saw Oliveira versus Islam last year. I'm not really trying to see it again. So that's what makes this Beneil Dariush like, what's it called? Make this Beneil Dariush fight versus Islam. Now that's a little interesting. Especially if the Dariush was able to stop Oliveira, that'd be lit. And then that'd be lit. And then when you see that fight coming, that would be a lit ass fight. But if Oliveira looks good during this fight, like he usually does, like if he looks like he can still run through this whole division, motherfuckers are going to say, fuck it. Let's see if Oliveira maybe just had a bad camp. Maybe he was doing it wrong. He wasn't trying to fight at this time for a reason. And he couldn't pull out of this fight because they were going to give it to Michael Chandler. So this is what makes that fight so interesting. But that's the end. Let's get back to the beginning. How do you think this is going to motherfucking go?
This is such an intriguing fight to me because you look at Oliveira's run. He submitted
everybody.
Yeah, he submitted everybody. Poirier, submitted Justin Gaethje. But in the Justin Gaethje fight and Poirier fight, both of them were able to score knockdowns, but you're too scared to enter the round that is called Charles Oliveira, which is the ground. And Michael Chandler kind of tagged him up, rocked him, wobbled him in early rounds, but come second round, he ended up knocking out Chandler. Dariush is coming off a huge win in which we broke down the fight, and I was super big into Dariush. I was telling you, like, Gamrot is a killer. Gamrot can take people down, but Dariush doesn't get taken down. And then he beat Tony Ferguson in unanimous decision, and it's kind of hard to like gauge that win because Tony Ferguson isn't the same Tony. This fight, honestly, Oliveira has the better resume. So it kind of leans me to think, okay, Oliveira should win because he's beating people who we would think are better than Dariush. But Dariush is also a southpaw. As a southpaw, we've seen his left hand crack Gamrot. He has the stand-up game. And he's not afraid to go to the ground with you. And I don't know if it's either he's going to be Oliveira's kryptonite because he's going to be somebody that will crack Oliveira on the feet, which we've seen multiple people do, but he's not going to be afraid to hit the ground with you. Or he could be in over his head and he gets an early crack of Oliveira and Oliveira ends up submitting him because Oliveira is one of one on his back. Or come late game, which we've seen with Oliveira, he kind of ends up landing the better shots as the fight continues, and he ends up cracking you. So this is what makes this fight so exciting. It is a pick'em for me. I'm gonna rock with Dariush only because I do believe in the hype. I do believe that people were ducking him because don't forget, Islam was told after the Bobby Green fight, "Oh, you got to fight Dariush before you fight for the title," and he said, "Oh, I'm game." But then he said he wasn't, and he has to have certain stipulations and this and that. And then Islam didn't want the fight. And I do kind of believe that Dariush is not an easy fight for nobody. It's a very scary fight for anybody because of the fact that he's a southpaw. He can crack on his feet. His left hand goes burr, and he can hit you on the ground and submit you. Got 8 submission wins, I believe, on his career already. So like, I'm taking Dariush. But I would not be shocked if Oliveira submits him because Dariush gets a little overconfident that he's winning the fight.
See, I'm glad you ended your point like that because everything you said was facts. So this man Dariush is nasty because I feel like Oliveira's not gonna really want to strike with bro immediately. And I also feel like the fact that he's willing to engage on the bottom is going to be one of the reasons why it's going to be like, oh shit. Because you've seen Islam was engaged immediately. He didn't move. He didn't think about it for a second.
Got the triangle in immediately. He jumped on you and had the triangle halfway in.
Mm-hmm. So like he already knew what his game plan was to crack him, and Islam knew how they were coming. So, but at the same time, this is Du Bronx, my boy. He's a sneaky motherfucker. He has something up his sleeve every corner. And a lot of the times he falls, his knockdowns are because he wants to go down. Like he prefers being down there with you. So like he wants to see you there. Like if he's known this man is a lethal submission guy this entire time. So he likes to force his angles, get into his position. So like that's what makes me trust him. And this brings me back to shoot box, man. Shoot Box Academy, they got something for that. Everybody's the same, man. They got something for that, and they've been working on that. They've been figuring shit out. So I gotta take my boy D Bronx on this one. I just feel like there's something sneaky. I wish it was a 5-round fight because I feel like a 4th round is when he could really like sneak something in, like catch him slipping with either a knockdown or a submission. Like I felt like a 4th round we would do it, but it's only a 3-round fight. And then somebody texted saying, "Hey, all his last fights been 3-round fights." If you think about it, and I'm like, well, that's true. Got Gacy up out of there in a second. That's true. So like, motherfucking, I got my boy D Bronx. And did you watch the countdown?
I have not watched the countdown.
So Dariush is a fucking G. Another reason why the fight would be fire about him in Abu Dhabi is because he's Syrian, which is Syria or Iran or something like that. Let me not throw the wrong country out there. But that boy's from the East too. So it just looks better for them boys in Abu Dhabi. But I would love to see that matchup with Islam versus Betty. But I'm taking my boy D Bronx. But on the countdown, these niggas were playing soccer with no shoes on. And I was just like, different.
Dogs.
Different. different. And they were, I want to say they were playing like on grass, but it wasn't like grass. It was more like, it looked, at first I thought it was a concrete, but it looked more like turf. So I don't know. It was dangerous. Them toes is ready to kick some shit.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I won't be mad with whoever wins this fight. Like, I honestly, like, early, if you would have asked me about 2 hours ago, I probably would have said I think the Bronx wins. Like, this is just how close of a fight it is. Which on
And then you see, and then you see the nigga like One Piece. So
yeah, the One Piece to kind of put me over the edge, but that's just to show like how close up and great of a fight the co-main event is, which is only 3 rounds. And then we got the main event, which is 5 rounds. And you're gonna have what I don't believe will be a close contest at all. Amanda Nunes, double champ, bantamweight title on the line against Irene Aldana. Viva la Mexico! Shout out all my Mexican champs right now. But no matter how much Mexican you got in you, there ain't nothing that's gonna tell me that you're gonna be Amanda Nunes. And it just blows my mind that Amanda Nunes is only a minus. I mean, it's a big favorite, minus 320. But beforehand, she used to be minus 1,000, minus 800, like those super mega favorite. And now that she beat, and now that Pena beat her and all that, like she kind of getting like the odds makers are kind of scared to place her odds. So to my opinion, minus 320 is a fucking steal. Like Irene Aldana is a good fighter, but once again a fill-in fighter because Pena wasn't able to fight. She's coming off of 2 wins, both knockouts, one over Yana Santos, other over Macy Chaseon, knockout in the first round and third round. And before that, she lost to Holly Holm. And then you look at Yana Santos, the person she knocked out, she also lost to Holly Holm this year. The Holly Holm main event in the Apex was against her. And that's one of her wins. And then you look at Chaseon. Chaseon's biggest win is a split decision over Norma Dumont. Also lost to Rockwell Pennington the year before. So I'm just like, I know there's no such thing as MMA math, but the competition that she gets wins over is okay. Like she has good fights with people that are okay. Amanda Nunes is the furthest thing from okay. And like at minus 220, I am taking those odds to the death. Like she should be minus 800. She should be especially a fill-in fighter with a month notice. This should be like a minus 1,000 favorite. So like I really love the odds. I'm parlaying that into anything like anything that you else like. Just throw this Nunes money line into there, just because she's gonna win this fight. I think through and through because she can take her down. She can dominate on the ground, and her fucking she has so much power. It's ridiculous.
Bro, this is when shit gets crazy right here. So the countdown is nice. When I tell you the countdown is good, countdown is good. Because they was giving us everything we needed to know about Aldana. It was like, man, Aldana, she Mexican. She originally went to school for something, maybe to be a dentist. I don't know, she got a degree. She got a degree, like I think computer engineering or some shit like that. And she just started.
There's no chance you'll ever be Amanda Nunes in a fight.
Nah, dead ass. But hey, we gonna put respect on our scholars. You feel me? So, this nigga goes. So she has a degree, but then she picked up MMA her last year of fighting and her last year of college, and then by 1 year into she was fighting in the all women's in the Invicta League, the all women's MMA fight promotion. So then she started gets to the UFC and she's been fucking niggas up since she got here. So they put a lot of respect on Aldana. Her training partner is Alexa Grasso, who just upset the fuck out of Valentina Shevchenko. And she's Mexican. Like you heard them at the press conference. She said, "What's the difference? What edge does you have over versus Juliana Pena?" She goes, "I'm Mexican." So she's coming ready to fucking win. She's trying to bust some fucking ass. But we're talking about the Lioness. We're talking about the 2-division champ. We're talking about the motherfucker that beat Ronda Rousey, Chris Cyborg, and your motherfucking mama. Like, this is Amanda motherfucking Nunes. And The only way I see this fight going is if this Mexican heat, that is this Latino heat, that
The
has been
Eddie
sweeping
Guerrero.
the UFC. Yeah, the ghost of Eddie Guerrero is in this motherfucking building tonight. Because I don't know. Because Aldana is not no punk.
What
Definitely
if
would never say that.
Aldana comes out? What if Aldana comes out in a lowrider?
I already thought we should have got married after watching the countdown, but I'll buy the ring if I see some shit like that.
Yeah, some real WWE Latino heat lowrider. Fucking Chavez Guerrero walking her out. It's fucking.
I mean, I lie, I cheat, I steal, I need that.
If she comes out to that
Or,
song, I would just give her that. You come out to
or,
that song alone, I'm changing my pick fight night.
or also, another acceptable song is the George Lopez theme song. Hello, right? No, that. Dun, 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 dun,
I always just picture the people jumping on the trampoline. This
like that's how you do the song was hard because it was just niggas jumping on a trampoline talking about some
low rider.
right.
Yeah, Aldana. I mean, you got what, 48 hours to respond? Now what if Nunes plays nine? What if Nunes plays mind games comes out to that song?
She, I'm fight of the night.
Fire of this year fire tonight right here?
But oh yeah, for sure. It's gonna be a fast one. But now I'm playing. I'm not. But like on some serious shit. I slept on Grasso. I didn't. Well, I didn't sleep on Yair or Moreno. But I'm sleeping. I slept on Grasso, and this was her training partner. They've had the dream since they got back because you know how they both got the reason why they were the only girls in the gym at the time. So they was like, we might as well train together. And then now they're here. This might be the one. This is Amanda Nunes' first opponent that isn't Juliana Pena since 2021. Hey, anything can happen. Anything can happen. That's why I'm just like, I'm not gonna be like Nunes got it. Nunes for sure. I'm just saying anything can happen because these Mexican fighters are dangerous.
And I'm here to
Because
tell
there's
you, go
something in the
hammer
game.
the minus 320 money line.
There's something that because the thing about Alexa Grasso beating Shevchenko, I don't know how niggas kept saying they had Grasso the whole fight. And I was like, niggas even changed the group chat name to the Grasso Zone well before the submission. What I saw was that she trained for something. They found a hole in her game and they found a tendency and they exploited it immediately. And she only needed to see it once. That's all she needed to see. She wasn't playing for it. She trained for that, and she went and fucking
if
got
she
that
got
shit.
the same coach that Grasso got, who we saw fight Moscar Afilov, Diego Lopez, remember him? He got the
Yeah.
So if he's training, if she's training with Grasso, that boy is a killer. That boy is like, hey, all odds against you, back against the wall. No one counted you in. He definitely shows you something.
And I don't want no immediate rematch. I want Juliana Pena versus Aldana next. Fuck what you heard.
Oh, also, I can't remember her name, but the girl that came back, Suarez.
Tatiana Suarez.
Tatiana Suarez. I think she's coming for the strap. But actually, and I could be wrong. I think she might be in stallweight. But if I'm wrong, if she's in bantamweight, that's the one person I could see actually potentially upsetting the Nunes.
I think an older Nunes, like I think eventually Nunes is gonna be like Nunes has two choices. She either can retire to double champ in like 2 or 3 fights from now, or she could keep going and wait till somebody beats her, and then she'll just retire with 1 championship.
Yeah.
Regardless, she gonna retire a champ, so she can do whatever the fuck she wants.
Yeah, she'll retire champ off into the sunset, and she's a lioness. She deserves it. She's an older fighter. She's 35. Aldana's also 35. But you know, like time is a motherfucker. Time gets everybody.
That's crazy. I did not know. I'm over here thinking this bitch is like 29 or something.
No, they're both 35. But that's what happens when you become an old great champion. The other fighters that we're gonna talk about the rest of this episode is the new crop, the new people coming into the UFC, and or at least some of them on the Ultimate Fighter 31, Michael Chandler, Conor McGregor. First two episodes came out via ESPN, ESPN Plus. If y'all haven't been able to tune into them yet, we're gonna not really break them down, but we're just gonna talk about what's happening in the Ultimate Fighter world. And via Kev, because Kev is the Ultimate Fighter um, guy. All right, that's all I want to
Enthusiast.
say. That's his show. So
Yeah, that's my shit. I don't really watch TV like that, right? So whenever the alternate, so I'm like, wait a minute, you got MMA and TV, so like I can bullshit and make it part of my notes, and I can smoke and chillax and watch. I'm not missing an alternate fighter, and I say that as in the first episode, it got 11.9 million views, which I guess is technically lower than the last time Conor McGregor did. Conor McGregor had an Ultimate Fighter appearance, but this shit is interesting. That shit broke the ESPN app. I couldn't even sign into ESPN Plus on my iPad to watch it. I had to wait like the next day for it to come out. I'm over here watching old motherfucking Ultimate Fighters like Volk and Ortega and shit. But this shit was interesting. This is interesting. This year there's two weight classes, 133 and 155. So Aljamain and them boys and the lightweights, Islam and them boys. So bantam and lightweight. So it's interesting because it's half for each weight class is half young guns and the other half for vets. And Conor McGregor got first pick. Oh yeah, the coaches are Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler, which is pretty fucking lit. The first instance they had talking to each other. Because everybody remembers after Tony Ferguson got the shit kicked out of him by Michael Chandler said, Conor McGregor, I'll see you in any weight class. So, like, that was the only time these motherfuckers ever communicated in a sense. So, Conor heard it, and Michael Chandler set it up. It would have been fine. It would have been dumb five if he could have made this Nate Diaz, and I think that was the original plan. But Michael Chandler's cool, too. So, they give it to Conor. Conor gets the first pick off of because they flip a coin. He picks the young 133 guys, and then Michael Chandler picks. He has to get the vets no matter what for the 133, and then I could be getting the weight classes mixed up, but then Michael Chandler gets first pick, and then he picks the vets for the 155. So Michael Chandler has all vets, and then Conor McGregor has all young guns.
no, that's kind of hard.
It is. It's interesting because I always think it's interesting that because last year they had women and the heavyweights. This year they have multiple weight classes, but all men in this motherfucker. So like it's interesting. And then they have a seeding rank. So each coach had to rank the guys 1 to 4 for each weight class, and then the number 1 fights the number 4, number 2 fights number 3 type shit.
All right. Well, spoilers from here on. Kev, who won them fights? Was there some good fights going on?
Yeah. So the first episode, it was Roosevelt versus some dude named Nate. I forget where they're from. Like Nate's a family man, but Roosevelt, he originally had a contract, and then he lost 2 fights in a row, so then he lost his shit. And so Roosevelt comes in this motherfucker. Nothing too crazy happened in the house itself. I think everybody was getting to know each other, stuff like that. Roosevelt, we come to find out in a later episode, and there's only been 2 episodes, that he's part gangster. But motherfucking in this episode, he goes into the fight, and Dana White, he's lit, he's checking shit out, and Roosevelt finishes dude Nate in 9 seconds.
Okay.
That's how you start. That's how the Ultimate Fighter started off. He boom, boom, sit your stupid ass down, pussy. And niggas sat down. And it was funny because after the fight,
who was his coach? Was that Conor's coach or was that
Yeah, Conor's dude. Conor has all the young guns, so that's what's not good. Because like these other niggas abandoned the UFC. It's not like you just got old niggas from other promotions. Like these niggas have UFC fights and have said, yo, if I ever get back, if I ever make it to the promised land, one more time. Like after the fight, Roosevelt literally, he was lit as fuck, right? This nigga turned. He goes over there, jumps to Dana. He says, "Hey Dana, I know I fucked up my contract last time, but don't worry, I'm barely back here on my shit." And then he goes to his coach, "Let's fucking go." I'm like, that's a dangerous motherfucker right there. That he
That's
just
like
code
Kevin
switched
Holland
like
type
that.
of trait.
Yeah, like, hello, Mr. President. I really fuck with you. I mean, I think you're a good guy. And then he goes back in, fuck you, dirty bitches. Like, that's dangerous. That's lit. Nigga forgot to shake Mike Tyson here. So, like, yeah.
Who was the other dub?
So, oh, fuck. I just missed it. Damn it. That's some bullshit. I turned it on so I could see it again. And so the next fight was Cody Gibson, who he's been away from the UFC the longest out of everybody in there. But he fought Marco Gutierrez. But originally it was supposed to be this dude named something Wells and another guy. They both cut weight. But that nigga Wells got a fucking cold sore on his face the day of the fight. So the doctors didn't approve him. So like as niggas was like in the background, because they both made weight. As niggas was in the background, like waiting to fight, the doctor comes into Michael Chandler's room and says, "Yeah, he can't fight." And then Michael Chandler's like, "Why?" And then he goes, "It was Wells didn't get medically cleared, so the fight's off. Maybe next week if the cold sore is gone, everything is fine." Conor McGregor's like, "Hey man, you can't control your body. Like, make sure you put some fucking cream on it. You can't fight, but you gotta make weight again, man. Don't." And then Conor McGregor's like, "Bro, you think I'm just gonna let them fucking take this away from you? You think just where you cut weight, you hyped up for the fight. Don't worry, we're gonna get this shit handled by next week." So like, we'll see what the fuck happens because the bro's supposed to fight. They're fighting the next week, most likely. But instead, we got Cody Gibson versus, I want to say, Marco Gutierrez. And Marco Gutierrez, he's a cowboy hat wearing ass nigga. Like, he's a lit ass motherfucker. He's a young gun. He's on Conor.
I enjoy cowboy hat.
And then Cody Gibson. Oh dang, I'm missing the Conor thing. But Cody Gibson comes he's been away from the UFC the longest. So them boys just fighting. I mean, they're back and forth. They're trading. It's not a bad first round. And then Cody Gibson lands a motherfucking flying knee out of nowhere. I mean, like, you know how most flying knees, it's like you might be coming, like Masvidal knows how to do it coming to a motherfucker. Like a lot, Sandhagen does it like he's coming to you. This shit was sideways. Like these niggas were like parallel, and this motherfucker just elevated that knee and then dope. Took him out, and after that, finished dude with punches. So he did that shit. Yeah, he did that shit in the first round. And the thing about Cody Gibson was that he was number 4. So he just took out Conor's number 1 guy.
Hey, the MMA math don't be adding up sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like how the Heat kind of just whooped some ass all the way to the finals.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. We got 3 more to go. We playing right now, but we gonna get that shit. But that Ultimate Fighter's been hitting. I think it's interesting because the Ultimate Fighter as a show, I feel like probably is declining because like it's not just because like you used to have like great scenes like Rampage breaking down the fucking door because he was mad. He was like, "Do that shit to me."
There's also like mid 2000s television where you're allowed to say and do a lot more than 2023.
Yeah, facts. Oh yeah, what's it called? Dana White used to call people retards all the time. Motherfucking there's the time that when Conor McGregor was a coach before and the dude kept pulling guard from the stand-up position. So Conor McGregor fucking spazzed through his glasses and shit. Like, I don't know if you're gonna see moments like that. I think you're not gonna really see like a Tony Ferguson situation where he gets drunk as fuck and he starts fighting with niggas and then he goes up to the niggas like, "Where's your kid? Where's your kid?" And then you find out that the nigga's like in a child custody battle with his ex-wife or some shit like and then Tony Ferguson comes back, "I'm sorry."
Or GSP bringing in his like French kickboxer guy that's drunk all the time.
Yes.
That's not happening anymore.
I don't know. Maybe with Conor, they might have a hit or some type of crazy shit like that. Islam was supposed to be in this episode. He's in this episode for like a couple seconds. I barely seen him. But it was interesting. It's been interesting so far. But now it's more like serious now. Like I feel like a lot of these people want careers. they feel like they don't want to fuck shit up. Like, I don't know. But in the second episode, Roosevelt checked this pussy ass nigga. I wonder what it might have been Gutierrez. So Roosevelt checked some pussy nigga because he was talking like he was the shit. And then Roosevelt was like, bro, he's a fucking bitch. Don't ever speak to me. And like it was just he checked the nigga. Nigga stopped speaking to him. I was like, oh, I like my dog Roosevelt now.
Okay. As someone who hasn't watched yet, it sounds like Roosevelt might be my new favorite guy. And it sounds like Cody Gibson is a fucking dog. So those are my two takeaways so far. And correct me if I'm wrong. All right, then. That's all I can say. I like to say.
I was waiting. Mike and Mike, all you missing is Michael Chandler's up 2-0.
Yeah, and I'm about to say also vets are showing that they're a little bit better than the young guns. They've been there and done that. They know what it takes to win.
Yeah, and this is since there's 2 weight classes, it's not as big as tournament. So everybody that just won is in the semifinals. All you got to do is win one more.
Are the episodes weekly?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be back next week with when we talk Vittori Cannonier, and we'll have a reiteration of the recap and Ultimate Fighter, and I'll definitely be caught up by then. I'll make sure of that.
Yeah, that boy Trevor Wells, I got to see that boy fight. I need to see. This will be good.
But outside, we had Ultimate Fighter, and I mean, don't miss UFC 289. Can't miss event. Don't miss it, guys.
Hey man, and on the rumor reports, motherfucking Chael Sonnen. So we don't know how true this is. The same nigga that says he's never lost a round. He said that they're what's up?
I was like, Chael Sonnen also did say that Francis was gonna sign with one, and I mean he wasn't wrong with that one.
You mean PFL?
Oh, MMA. Yeah, he was gonna sign with PFL, and everyone. So he wasn't wrong. He did say that about a week and a half before it broke.
He might have got some good news. He might still be tapping a little bit with ESPN. But this nigga says that they're trying to talk on Sean Jones versus Sergey Pavlovich because it's been a minute since we've heard anybody say anything about John Jones and Steve Bay at Madison Square.
Nope. And you saw New York's air. It's fucking shitty right now. So wouldn't be shocked if all that shit gets scrapped.
Yeah, but we'll see, man. But that's everything, your boys. That was a good ass fucking episode, man. I'm looking forward to the card. There's a good chance that boy comedian Romeo Mack is back on these motherfuckers, and I might be on the live stream trying to get drunk for the one time. I ain't watched a fight in the States in a minute. But we gonna catch you on the next one, man. Make sure you watch the boxing episodes and make sure you checked out the motherfucking recap because my boy Kai Car France was robbed. But we'll talk about that we already talked about that on the preview. But we're going to catch you on the next one. This is your boy, Kev Waterboy Savoy. I'm in this bitch with Paul Pick and Wyndham Concert. And Totally Bliss merch on the way. Coming soon, you dirty bitches.